Alright, so guys, what is up? This is Tcg Sam here, and in today's video, I'm coming at you guys with an updated Trap Shaddolls deck profile, and I'm going to be explaining why I think this can be a decent anti-meta option. If you're just kind of done with this format and just want to kill the meta decks that you come across, definitely give this a try. So, without further ado, let's just hop straight into it. Alright, so first card, we're playing Triple Mathematician. This is important. Even going second is really good, because a lot of the Shaddolls have effects that are really good going second. Dragon was a thing before, but now kind of like Genius essentially acts as a it forces out one of your opponent's negates, and then you can drop your Shaddoll fusion or whatever. At first, like, no one's really negating Mathematician. Like, I feel like no one would. It's not really smart to. You just negate whatever you send with it, but either way, it baits out a negate, and then it becomes an Artemis for a light monster to fuse with all your other monsters, so that's really good as well. Since you're playing a slow control deck as well, the effect to draw can also come up, so that can be huge. Triple Wendy, this is the only 3 of Shaddolls we're playing. We don't want to like play that many Shaddolls in this deck because like we have access to it with a card like Sinister Shadow Games. We don't need to play that many multiples, I should say. You definitely want to play like at least one of like these names just for utility, because all of them offer some really nice utility for you. Like Squamata, essentially just any one of them. Honestly, I could even see cutting Squamata down to 1 and only leaving Wendy at 3, just because like you will sometimes brick on these because like you don't play that many monsters to fuse with, like other than these and the Mathematicians. But yeah, not much to say about this lineup. You can consider playing 2 Ariel, but like with the way the meta is shaping right now with like Prank Kids at the top, I really don't think Ariel's that is like super great against the deck. Back when Drytron was like tier 0, Ariel at 2 definitely was good against them, but now that it's kind of like faded away a little bit, I guess like Tri-Brigade 2 I guess is okay. So really, depending on the meta of your area, you can definitely play like 2 Ariels. And then I actually would consider like cutting Squamata down to 1 in this build specifically. Just because you have access to it with a card like Sinister Shadow Games. But yeah, that's the Shaddolls lineup. Wendy's like the only the 3 of that you want to play, because this Wendy essentially starts all your plays by setting like any one of these Shaddolls. It's really good. That's it for the monsters. We're not playing hand traps because we're playing a trap build. You may be wondering like, oh, are you just gonna lose like every deck going second? Well, actually no. Once we get to the trap lineup, I'll show you. This is the fusion spell lineup. Obviously 3 and 3 of each. You'd have to play triple L in this because it's essentially a disruption for you, but I like the triple Shaddolls fusion as well, just because essentially like it becomes in this very simplified game state. Once like you simplify the game state down with your traps and stuff, like this Shaddolls fusion is just gonna be huge. Like it can completely swing a game in your favor. Of course, going second as well, it's a really good card. I don't have to explain Super Poly. It's a pseudo trap and a going second card as well. This is one of the best cards in this deck. And then lastly, I play Foolish Burial. Same thing with Mathematician. You want this utility to you want this to be able to pretty much just send any card in your deck, and then you get the utility of any one of your Shaddolls. Is just really good. Not much more to say about that. Now for the trap lineup, it's gonna seem weird, but against let's say like against something like Prank Kids or whatever, like Tri-Brigade, like these spot removal traps are actually really good. Like, you know, a lot of those decks rely on their normal summons. Like Prank Kids, they have the normal summon Prank Kids usually to play to start their plays, unless they hard drew like fusion spells or whatever. And with Tri-Brigade, obviously they need to stick a guy on board, and their effects aren't like trick effects on summons, so getting rid of them on the board just can be huge, especially with a card like Punishment sending Entis. You definitely want to play these ones specifically just to get rid of those monsters on the board as well. And like even going second, if you set these as a trap, you can essentially use this to force out any one of your like opponent's cards. Like you just target their interruption, and then like you can then activate your El Shaddoll fusion. You can then activate your other traps. Like Trunter Tribute's a really high impact trap even going second. So like if your opponent's trying to kill you, they definitely need to like summon once again. So that definitely Trunter Tribute definitely is a must, like 3 of must. Along with that, Solemn Strike. You want to be playing Solemn Strike because it allows you essentially to resolve any card in your deck for free while getting rid of a opponent's like monster negation threat. So yeah, Solemn Strike is really powerful, really powerful card. Not much more to say about that. This, like I said, this helps you go second because like this plus any like trap supposedly just breaks any board because Dynamiscus target something, they negate, strike, get rid of it, simplify the game state. Pretty much the goal of this deck is to simplify the game state because your Shaddolls thrive in a slower game state because essentially you can get all their powerful flip effects and then you can get double value from them. They stick on the board as well when you use them as a fusion material for next turn. And then Triple Sinister Shadow Games. This is a really powerful card that lets you essentially turn your best Shaddolls into like disruptions on your opponent's turn as well. It's like Sinister, you can send Ariel, you can send Dragon, you can send what's its face? The Genius. You can send Genius, and this is really good against Tri Brigades. It's also a consistency card, and essentially if you're setting like stuff off of Wendy, like you can set Squamata, you can set Dragon, and they have disruption effects when they're flipped up as well. So Sinister Shadow Games, really important card. And then for the Shaddoll traps, one Resh, one Schism. Schism self-explanatory. Resh I only like to play one because you keep looping it back, and then when you're rarely gonna banish it unless you're going for game anyways, or like or you really need to disrupt your opponent. But like if you already banish it, it doesn't matter. You have other cards to grind as well, so it doesn't matter if you run out of the single Resh. That's the main deck, 40 cards. Hopefully my trap explanation makes sense. These are all like very good against like the top decks right now, and like you can like Torrential Strike breaks like any combo board as well, so that makes even going second like not too bad of a choice. But like obviously going first, like these traps can definitely just end like some of the meta deck's turns. For the extra deck, Triple Construct, you actually don't even need Triple Construct, but I think I'd probably get like flamed by all the Shaddolls players if I didn't play 3 Construct in the Shaddolls deck. But Construct, double Winda, double App Clone, you need 2 because you're sending one off of punishment sometimes. And then one Shekinaga, this is really good as a super poly target because one, like some of the Tri-Brigade players are still playing like Zeus. Zeus stuff is really good. Shekinaga is also a decent disruption, has a decent disruption effect, and you're playing Genius. So Genius acts as the Earth that you need for Shekinaga as well as Mathematician. There aren't like too many Earth monsters like in the meta, like Prankid's Roxy's, maybe you can like super poly them on their normal summon, but like other than that, it's just like a kind of a flex slot. I think is really good. One Starving Venom. This is for Dragoon. Dragoon's still like pretty popular now, especially with Drytrons. I mean, I think this definitely just covers about all the super poly targets that you could possibly ever want, like Light and Dark, Earth, and the 2 Darks. Entis for the punishment, and of course no one's ever gonna dogmatic Maximus you after they see this. For the last few cards in the extra deck, Gravity Controller and Artemis for the Link ones. So obviously these are pretty standard. You need this to actually be able to start making some plays with your fusion cards. This is like your only light monster that you have access to on like turn 1. Like obviously you can send Entis as a light for Schism off of like punishment or something, but like either way, like Artemis super important for that light. But even if you don't access Construct, that's fine. You can play like Window Control, which like the good thing about this deck, like the traps plus the window just make it really hard to out. Virtue Anaconda, this is to push, this is to threaten, to put a lot of pressure on your opponent, because you can send Super Poly, Shaddolls Fusion. Even if you just pass on a window and you're not doing anything after that, with all your traps, you're still good. And then one Cross Sheep, Boral Sword. Cross Sheep and Boral Sword just here to like give you a way to kill your opponent. When you establish a bunch of monsters, like if you've been like flipping a bunch of Wendy's and stuff, you get a bunch of monsters, fuse, bring something back, and then you got Boral Sword, and that should be game. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. I know this isn't the most like competitive deck, but I do think that if you guys just want a fun deck to play, something that can be really good, pretty decent against this meta, like just look at these like traps and say like. And like consider like the top decks, like I said, like Prankids, Tri Brigade, even against like Drytrons, it's not that bad because essentially once they commit to something like Mu Beta or whatever, taking away the Mu Beta can be really good. It takes away a lot of tempo from them. Even though like they get the stuff back in the grave, they're not able to essentially ritual summon for free, and that becomes really good as well. And like I said before, Solemn Strike essentially can be a going second card as well, unless any one of your cards resolve. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and with that, I will see you guys soon. Take care.